What's up, everybody? Welcome to PixelPlay Sidequest, where we're going to talk about more games that need to be remade, remastered. Well, we want remade, but let's be honest, in some cases, we'll just take what we can get at this point.
Oh
But
yeah.
we get to full wish list this, full on remakes. We are now on GameCube. So we got through the Dreamcast. We're now done the difficult ones. It's over. There's no more hard ones. It's now, we can find 3 games pretty easily. I don't have to dig into the annals of like a ranker list or see like where hidden gems are, kind of do some research. No. It's easy to figure out 3 games for any console we're going to have going forward now. So we're getting towards the home stretch, but that doesn't mean the games don't continue to get better. So.
Oh yeah. This one was actually pretty fun to go through.
Well, and it gets more interesting too, right? Because we are now at a point where it's not generally going to be a guaranteed exclusive anymore, because a lot of games are specifically on everything. And a lot of my picks for each console are going to be based on me playing them on this console rather than it being a case of well, you know, because I mean, for especially in this generation, like Xbox, GameCube, and PlayStation 2, I didn't own the GameCube, but I knew a friend that had it, and we played it a bunch. So, like, I've got experiences that I started there, maybe finished on my PS2, or maybe finished on my Xbox. But realistically speaking, you know, these are all things that I played either there exclusively or played them first and then finished them elsewhere, you know, when I was able to have them on my own time. The easiest layup out of everything on this list was The Simpsons Hit and Run, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah, that was on mine too. Like, I had to throw it out there.
In this entire generation, I think honestly, if there's one game that I want remade, it's this. And to the point that we've now seen what it could look like when that one, I can't remember what the YouTuber's name is, but he showed like, because he didn't do it to make a game, he just showed that it could be done and showing how incredible this would be.
Yeah. That's what sparked my interest again, all over again, actually, for this game was that. And yeah, this was number 1 on my list too. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's the first thing I thought of and wrote down without even thinking. I didn't have to check any lists, nothing to remind myself. It was already there. It was in my mind waiting.
And it's just one of those games too that it's like, there are certain games out there where, you know, you sit and wonder, how hasn't it been done? And I'm sure it's some licensing thing or whatever else, but like, there has been such a constant outpour of this. I think even Chrono series might not have this much outpouring.
That's true. And Chrono's a little more niche, just that little bit more. This was a fair bit more mainstream, and like, God, it was so good. It was so good.
And it had no business being good. Like
No.
if you had said like, oh, they're trying to make a GTA Simpsons game, and we're gonna be like, well, they're gonna put no work into that. But it seems like in that era, Simpsons games were amazing. Like also Simpsons Road Rage was also really, really good. It was like a crazy taxi ripoff, but it was really, really good.
Yeah, they were definitely ripoffs of other games, but I mean, even Simpsons the arcade game and stuff like that, there was a lot of good Simpsons games. The more I think of it,
yeah, weirdly enough, Simpsons games,
Nintendo,
generally speaking, like unless you go like really far back into when almost no games were being made well in the old NES days, but like they've generally had a pretty good track record, and obviously this is the best of them all. I don't think there's a single person that would argue otherwise. There might be like the one person that just really, really likes Road Rage or really, really likes the arcade game because of nostalgia, but like this is without question the best Simpsons game there's ever been on a console.
Oh, hands down. Hands down. It's kind of like the end of it too. Like I feel like the Simpsons games kind of died off after this.
I mean, the movie game was fine, but like it definitely was that trend of like
movie game.
There was definitely a trend of okay, we're not getting the same stuff anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that one. I feel like that one probably wasn't as popular. I don't hear anybody talking about the movie game. I don't remember that tie-in at all.
All right, we'll try and top that one, buddy.
Well, I can't. That was my number 1, so I'm gonna have to go with my number 2. I specifically put extra because after I wrote Simpsons Hit and Run, I'm like, Adam's gonna have this one too, so I need extras just in case.
Look, my golden rule is I always have 6. I know there's no way I'm gonna have to use all my backups because there's always one random one I throw in there that you're like, oh, really? So yeah. I know I'm fine, but you never know.
That's true. Well, I don't think I really have too many random ones. I feel like this one was pretty easy. I know exactly the ones I want. So my first one, being a Legend of Zelda guy, I'm going Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventure, believe it or not. Not Wind Waker and stuff like that. I know Wind Waker also has had like a remaster.
It's already had a remake, so technically it wouldn't count.
Yeah. But even if it hadn't, I still would have chose this one over Wind Waker. And the reason being is this one had the ability to do 4-player. Now, it was more of a traditional Legend of Zelda, obviously, a lot more traditional. It's more like a Link's Awakening and that kind of stuff. It basically had, I think this was a sequel to like a Game Boy Advance game, Four Swords.
Seeing if I can find that here.
Yeah, I think Four Swords Adventures was like the second one of those. The concept was super simple, where it's like literally Link gets cloned. It's just they made whatever
Link to the Past Four Swords from Game Boy Advance. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was like a sequel to it, and I mean the thing is like you could hook up 4 controllers. Obviously, it was a GameCube, and you could have 4 people playing traditional Legend of Zelda, like a Link to the Past kind of obviously original kind of Zelda, and it was so much freaking fun. I only got to play with like my girlfriend at the time and stuff like that, who knew nothing of Zelda and did not really care for playing much. So I only got to play a bit, but you could do only 1 player if you wanted. But I mean, it really, really shined once you were doing those 4 players. You had 4 links on the screen, and you're all like attacking a boss, or you're all solving puzzles. The hardest part was like you got 4 people who know how to actually solve the puzzle, and you're all fighting over like doing it because like you all just want to throw the bomb or throw the key or whatever it is, right? And as you can even see for anybody watching the video version, like you've got 1 Link holding a bomb, you had 1 holding a key. Like you did have to work together in a way. But it was like, it was just such a cool idea that I'm sure that, when they were thinking about it on Game Boy Advance and stuff, they were like, oh, maybe this would be fun for like, the chance for a 4-player Zelda. And all of a sudden they get this one on GameCube and they just make it that much bigger, that much better. And it rocked. Like, I think that if you were to remake this using maybe a similar art style to what they've already done with the Zelda remakes on, say, Switch, where you get Link's Awakening and now the Echoes of Wisdom one with Zelda, you could do a 4-player version of that. Maybe I'll keep it, maybe tone it down a little bit or something with the graphics. Who knows? Whatever they need to do to make it 4-player, maybe with the Switch 2 wouldn't even be an issue. But I think that graphic style, but with this game and that premise, would be fantastic. You could do like, especially on a Switch, you get like 4 people sitting in the same room, everybody's playing as their own Link. Maybe you could play online and link up with other Links and play and stuff. I think it would be a really, really cool concept that we haven't seen in the Legend of Zelda series since. Like, we haven't had another Four Swords game. They've all been the single player ones. Which,
I was actually going to say, like, this would have been the perfect thing to remaster, not even remake, but remaster and port to Switch 2 while they were literally showing the new online features that they have for, video chat and everything else. It seemed like the perfect game you could have used that with.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that would have been a great idea. Yeah, having the game chat going with this, it fits, right? It's like that old school gaming together, but, I guess slightly apart, but all on a couch. This would fit so well. So this was my number 2 besides Simpsons Hit and Run, obviously.
So I don't know if you've played this, but this might be a little off the board for some people. I am a massive wrestling fan, as I've probably shown many times on this. And to this day, while it's not like completely a wrestling game, I still think to this day, one of the best ones there ever has been in this area was Def Jam Fight for New York.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Which was
heck yeah,
the best game in terms of having chaos with like the old like N64 sort of wrestling engine that we saw in games like No Mercy, WCW versus NWO Legends, and WWF WrestleMania 2000, for example, being the main ones. Like Def Jam Vendetta came up first, but Fight for New York is where it was completed, where it was definitely done its best. And obviously, you would not be able to do it now with all the names that are in it, like Snoop Dogg's in it, Redman's in it, Method Man, Exhibit. Like, doing that wouldn't be possible. You could very easily just make new characters to kind of overwrite that, and it would be fine.
Yeah.
And not to mention, like, if it gets redone, you could also just throw new names in, and I'm sure Snoop Dogg would probably be cool with doing it again anyway. So, like,
oh yeah,
there are names that would still be pretty cool with it. And like, you talk with either the wrestling community or the hip hop community, both of them want this so bad to come back.
Yeah.
The fact that it hasn't is a real shame, because I think it's honestly one of the best examples of when games used to be fun before they got too much into the realism area once we get to the next generation. Like, this was just the ultimate in stupidity. Like, this was just go around, beat the shit out of each other. Weapons can go around. You can just hit people with random stuff the crowd's holding on to. There's maps with interactive things. Like, there's points where you can throw a guy into a fucking train. Like, it's Mortal Kombat all over again. Like, and actually, story-wise, they did a pretty good job with that, too. So, like,
oh yeah,
they did a lot of things right for a game that was literally just about a bunch of rappers beating the shit out of each other, which is so weird that it works so well twice. Now, we don't talk about Icon because that game fucking sucked and it's not even on our horizon, but like, it made no sense at the time that this worked so well. I would say even more than Simpsons Hit and Run, this made no sense to work as well as it did. And here we are with, you know, it, and I still see him in the wrestling community specifically, because obviously I'm not a hip hop guy, as you can tell by the clear, like, never amounts of any hip hop paraphernalia I wear. But it's always something that gets brought up once in a while. Now, before AEW started their game using the old Aki engine that they do now, even like people were also looking for Def Jam just because that was the last game that really used that engine anymore. So like. Mm-hmm. There's so much of that too, of bringing that old school flavor back to it. And I think this is a relatively easy one to not screw up. Now, granted, companies always find a way to screw things up, but this is one of those games where it's literally just fresh coat of paint, 60 frames per second, keep the chaos. Don't try to fix anything that isn't broken. And Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, don't change the actual gameplay. Don't change the premise. Like, clean it up, maybe make it a little more tight or something like that. Like, quality of life
make
improvements.
Make the moves a little more fluid, the hit detection a little bit better. I mean, people are going to look at this and be like, well, it looks kind of rough and chaotic. I'm like, yeah, because it kind of is, because it's fast. It's over the top. Like, it's not meant to be like polished and realistic, because again, this is and this is a conversation we've had so many times, but like, realism is getting really, really boring to me now. Mm-hmm. Like, I want stuff that's silly. I don't care if it looks good or not. When I say looks good, I mean like looks like it would actually hit and would actually happen. I don't care. Just make it fun. That's the important thing to me.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was such a fun one. And it's also just a reminder of like those 4-player games that you just kind of sit with friends and play nonsense. Like you'd all just sit around and just beat the crap out of each other. And you're all just sitting there having a great time. It was amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a good pick. I didn't have that one, but I regret that I don't have that one. But oh god, that was so much fun.
I mean, shit. Like even Carmen Electra, I think, was in that one too. Like they just pulled a bunch of random.
She was
shit
in one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's your number 2? Well, I guess it's your number 3 now because I've already taken one off your list.
Yeah. So my second one that I'll go with. This one is going to be all right. F-Zero GX. I'm just going right into it. This one, I get it. People are going to be like, does this really need a remake? Does a racing game need a remake? And I understand that. I just know that this is basically the last 3D just on console F-Zero, right? Like it's gone. Like we don't have F-Zero anymore, minus like F-Zero 99 and Captain Falcon and like Smash Brothers. But this game was one that no one really talks about because everybody was all either the original F-Zero on Super Nintendo or F-Zero X on N64. This one had obviously more story with the cutscenes, and they had the craziest tracks that were available at the time because they had the furthest technology.
Oh my god, watching people speedrun this game is just insane.
Yes, like there's crazy fun things you can do. It's wild. It's just fun like you're talking about. It's a racing game, but at no point is this realistic, right? Like this is not your, Forza Motorsport realism or Gran Turismo. This is
the amount of times you can die in a single race if you're really thinking about it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But it was just fun, right? You could unlock different cars and characters, and it was fast and wild, and every track like looked a little bit different. And it was like, oh, I'm in a volcano now. Oh, cool, I'm above a crazy city on like this floating road. It was almost like if Rainbow Road from Mario Kart was like every level with a different coat of paint. Like, it is crazy, crazy fast, crazy wild, and it's really, really, really fun, especially if you have like 3 other friends. The reason I want this remade is I actually think if they did remake this one and bring it to a modern, Switch, obviously would have to be, it's a Nintendo title. I think it would actually kind of do well. It'd be like one of those ones where it's like, oh, I know this franchise. I know it's not a new one, but I never played this. And I feel like a lot of people would probably actually say that. Plus, they'd just be so happy for a new F-Zero that they'd be happy to be playing this just with obviously a new coat of paint. They could do the first one or F-Zero X, but obviously I think that this one being what it is, it had the craziest tracks. It had the, crazy amount of cars and all that kind of good stuff.
I think with all of the cutscenes too, it gives something for everybody to go into because there's also a bit of story to it.
Yes, and it's got the cutscenes and the story and all that. Like, they could clean this up, and I think it'd be like a really solid release. Now, if it was instead just a brand new F-Zero that has all of those things and is brand new, yeah, of course, I would love that. But I don't know. I feel like we're just never getting F-Zero ever again. So I'm throwing this out into the ether so that Nintendo, who clearly watches this podcast, will actually be like, oh, wow, this guy's got a great point. Let's just remake that one.
What do you think the chances are we get Captain Falcon in a Mario Kart game before we get another F-Zero game?
Oh, 100%. It's happening. We already have like Animal Crossing characters and Link and stuff in Mario Kart. I guarantee you Falcon's going to be in there. I guarantee it.
Now, hot take, or in your case, sorry, like, what's your hot take, and which of the 3 F-Zero games do you think is the best one, though?
If I had to pick, well, that's hard because I'm nostalgic for all of them. I think that when it comes to actually quality of racing and everything, I think GX is the best one in the sense it is the newest. It's got the tracks, it's got the, most modern controls and everything like that. Like the original F-Zero on SNES is mostly that mode 7 or whatever, right? And it's also hard as shit. Like, let's call that what it is. But it's not like the tracks go up and down and all this crazy stuff. Like, it was all flat. But I also have a lot of a nostalgia for it because it's like 1991 and look how cool it looks for that time. F-Zero X is definitely the one I played the most. I had it on N64. I'd play with my sisters if I had friends over. Like, it was the one I had in like when I was like mid high school too. So it's like that perfect time where I'm having people come over and all that. And I did love the battle mode on F-Zero X where it's like you versus a bunch of like basically a battle royale of who's going to be the last one alive, and you just keep going at, course after course after course. But if I had to pick which one truly is probably the best game, I'm going to go with GX. I think it would be the best one. What about you?
The only one I can say I never played was the one in N64, so I don't have an opinion on that. I think just because I think the graphical style of the SNES one's kind of like a more interesting idea. Because I think visually it's a little more interesting just to have like a more cartoonish look to it. So I would kind of lean to that instead. But again, like, obviously you could just make an F-Zero GX and just change the graphical style of it anyway. But if I had to choose one, I think I'd still take the original.
Yeah, the original is hard, really hard.
Yeah,
and on Switch, they have F-Zero 99, which is insane.
Yep.
It's basically the Super Nintendo game, but against 98 other people. It is wild, and I am not good. I feel like I'm great until I face all the people who are much better than me online.
Get good.
And it is like...
This is what happens when you have a backlog. You don't have time. Don't have time to get good.
Yeah, not just sitting there mastering F-Zero 99. Yeah.
Nah. My last one, man. If you want to talk about games that I can't believe have not been redone, like this is my whole theme of the GameCube one. It's like, how has this not been fucking redone in any shape? 007, Agent Under Fire, and Nightfire. I'll put them both together.
Yeah, I had these on my list too.
Why the fuck have we not had a stupid, fun, like Pierce Brosnan movie level Bond game?
Yeah.
Like, what was the last one?
I know.
Everything or Nothing was like a third person shooter.
Everything
so
or
wasn't
Nothing?
that great.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really
there
the
was
same
like
thing.
that one GoldenEye, but it wasn't the remake
wasn't
of GoldenEye.
There one with Daniel Craig
like...
where it was like Bloodstone or something like that?
There was one with Daniel Craig where they remade GoldenEye, like the N64
No, that's not
GoldenEye.
the one I'm
Remember
thinking. I
that?
think I might be right. Let me go check. Bloodstone. Yeah, shit, I was right. Bloodstone, which would have been 2010.
Oh wow, I don't even know that one.
And obviously, we know
Probably
that there's
why they stopped making
Project
them.
007 for realsies, even though we're going to put a 2-second trailer in on the Switch conference for some reason.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, they're not even working on the game yet. There's no way.
But like, what do I have to say that like can't already be explained by watching the gameplay on here? Like, it's not Call of Duty Light, which is what the fucking GoldenEye remake was. It's not third-person stealth shooter, which is, to be honest, not what, like, if that's what you want to play, Hitman exists. I was about to say Splinter Cell exists. Sorry, Kayla. No, it doesn't. But like like Metal Gear exists. Like, you want third-person stealth? They exist elsewhere. What made 007 games so good in the N64 and the GameCube, well, I guess the GameCube PS2, like that generation, was they were stupid fun. It was all about the gadgets. It was all about the silly, like, over the top, like, moments that would happen in it. Like, that's what those games were. They were just meant to be the best parts of what in my personal opinion, my hot take is the Pierce Brosnan Bond movies are the best ones. And it's not even a nostalgia thing. Like, I've watched all of them. I think there's some really good ones in every single generation. Hell, I even think Timothy Dalton, his Bond movies are actually very underrated.
His are very underrated. I love those ones.
But like, when I think about Bond movies and what they mean the most to me, it's Pierce Brosnan's ones because they're just fun movies. They're like the Fast and Furious of James Bond movies. Now, granted, every Bond movie has set pieces, but there's different ways of these set pieces being. Daniel Craig's have always been way more intense, way more like massive in scope. Sean Connery's there was a lot of funny stuff, like the guy who got inflated while he was underwater with like a capsule and floated up into the air and exploded. Like, there's those silly ones where I found the Brosnan ones were like the over the top, like balls to the wall action, like Jason Statham, Fast and the Furious, like all that shit. And I don't think there's a wrong version of it, but I think when it comes to a video game, the one that suits best for it are those Pierce Brosnan ones because they are just over the top fun action. And that's why I think these games have always worked the best, because that's where they shine the most, is by being just stupid over the top fun. In a similar way that like Time Splitters or oh my god, like the No One Lives Forever games or other ones like that, where like they all are about just being silly and being over the top action. And I think those work the best for it. So out of any Bond game that we could ever suggest here, I know a lot of people are probably still mad that we didn't really say anything about like GoldenEye or The World Is Not Enough, because again, the GoldenEye remake was so bad that it needs to be redone again. I really do firmly believe that these are the two I'd want long before anything else, because they're the best versions of it.
Yeah, like these ones were basically the fun of the GoldenEye game on N64 and The World Is Not Enough. They decided to not keep following the movies and just like continue with that same arcade shooter fun story kind of ridiculousness and made their own stories, and they were so good. Like they actually felt like one of the movies. Like obviously it was a lot more gamey in the sense of like, you know, you're shooting millions of people and doing all this stuff, but it was a lot of fun. And it's something that even in the movies they stopped doing, right? Like even once Daniel Craig movies came out in mid 2000s, it was just pure serious. Bond is serious. This is not fun. Nobody's doing anything cheeky anymore. Like I love the Pierce Brosnan ones, and I love the Roger Moore ones, because even the Roger Moore ones too had that slight silliness where there'd be something ridiculous happening and he'd just like look at the like bad guy or whatever and give this funny smirk smile, like whatever. Like
if I remember correct, because it's been a while since I've watched a lot of the movies, he's the one where he grabs Blofeld when he's in the wheelchair with the helicopter and drops him in a smokestack, right?
Yep. And while the guy is freaking out, going Mr. Bond on the outside of the helicopter, he rubs his head and goes, "Keep your hair on," and he's like a bald dude. Like it's just. He's the one, like, and also in his movies, like Jaws exists, and like all these crazy characters where it's like, what the fuck is happening? This guy has a metal mouth. Oh, and it's just ridiculous, but it was fun. He would drive a car into a lake and it would turn into a submarine, and it made no sense. But you know, he just did it anyways. Like it was just really cool, fun stuff that was like that bit of action with that bit of fun, not too realistic, but not like too far way in like left field where it's like, oh my God, this could never happen until James Bond went to space. Once he was there, that was fucked up. But Star Wars existed, so they had to try and compete.
All right, and what's your last one then?
For my last one, I think I'm gonna have to. It's funny, actually. I have no options. You took my two. Like honestly, I had Simpsons Hit and Run, Legend of Zelda: Four Swords, and James Bond Agent Under Fire. And I was like, I'm not going to say James Bond Under Fire because I'm worried Adam's going to say this. And I didn't say my other one just in case you said it, which is why I went with my F-Zero GX. I'm surprised you didn't say this one, but I'll be the Final Fantasy guy and throw it out there. I've never also played this. I owned a GameCube, but I bought it used. But I never actually owned this game. And at the time, I was a little put off by it. Like, I knew it was one of those side Final Fantasy games. And it's like, I don't know if like a spin-off is going to be good. Like, it's not a main number Final Fantasy, right? But it was Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. It looked a little more childish. It was a lot more like Nintendo friendly. I know it was a huge deal because it was Final Fantasy returning to Nintendo, which they hadn't done since Final Fantasy VI. But because of it, like, again, I never actually played this game. I never got around to playing it because obviously it's not as popular as all the others, but I think it's also just one that I don't think you can get it anywhere now, even. Like a lot of other games. I was looking through GameCube. I was surprised. There are so many games on there I would have had on my list.
Didn't they re-release this somewhere? Let me check.
They may have brought it over to like PS2 or something like that.
I think it's been ported recently, actually. Let me go and double check that.
Oh, really? Oh, well, then I'm going to have...
see. Yeah, remastered edition in 2020.
Well, there you go. Never mind. Now I got to just take my answer back because I got to go find that.
I will say I've never played this game either, so...
Yeah. Well, for me, it was just... I was looking and I'm like, I want to play this, but like, I'm obviously, I guess I could emulate it or something, but I didn't realize that it actually had been re-released. But yeah, it's my reasoning for it being on my list is... It looks like a Final Fantasy I'd actually enjoy now and I'd appreciate. I think it would need a new coat of paint. It definitely looks a little blurry in the sense of the old resolution and stuff. But given that there's already a remaster, hey, then maybe I can actually go and give that one a go.
Well, since we technically have a free spot still, I'll throw in one of my bonus ones, which I think now is an ironic thing to say because now that the patent license is gone, it can happen because we talked about it not too long ago, and that's Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem.
Yes.
Now, as a not horror guy, I don't know if I would play. Actually, this game probably isn't that bad. I think I could get away with this unless they completely changed it. But this is kind of more of a sort of a silly horror game. I think I could get away with this one. I would just love to see them, like I said before, just redo the sanity system and just kind of give that a fresh coat of paint. I think this would just be like low key a favorite among new players today, especially for streaming culture.
Oh yeah,
like that is a TikTok heavy game with some of the shit. If you make a modernized version of the sanity system,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. This generation, the hardest part I found was that a bunch of games I found and loved from that are already re-released and remastered or something.
It's going to get more harder in some ways because of that.
Yeah, because I was like, Tales of Symphonia, that game's so good. And then I'm like, right, not only was that re-released already, they've just remastered it and put it out again.
Yeah, now that it's at a 3D point where it's not terribly pixelated, you can really just kind of give it a fresh coat. So.
Oh yeah, and there's like Baten Kaitos or whatever, however you say that
Kaitos,
one. Yeah, that I'm like, oh right, that just released. Like, the more I looked at stuff, I did see Skies of Arcadia again, and I got really excited. I'm like, damn it, I used that up on the Dreamcast one.
Yeah, the only other side ones that had Cell Damage, which was this really fun, like you know how the Mario Kart battle mode would always be there? It was kind of that, but with a few more power-ups. And speaking of Mario Kart, Double Dash, because I think Double Dash is very underrated. I love that gameplay style, and it's also great for co-op.
Yeah, it's a great co-op experience. Yeah, I hope they bring that back. Like, even if it's just a mode within a Mario Kart recently,
yeah,
I think that would do so well. Because that was an underrated Mario Kart. That one was a ton of fun. And they just kind of dropped the idea and made, obviously, Mario Kart Wii, which was fantastic. But, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that covers a good chunk of stuff we got out of the GameCube there. So sorry, Sunshine fans. You'll just have to deal with, the package that Nintendo gave you for like 2 weeks and then took it off the shelf. So
yeah, you ain't playing that.
All right, well, you guys know the drill. You're here on YouTube. Like and subscribe. You got the link tree there at the bottom of your screen, link to our Discord, link to our socials, all that jazz. Wednesdays are the main podcast. Aubrey. Wow, what language was I trying to go with there? Obviously, you got these every Friday, as you saw here today. So we will see you whenever we see you next. So take care wherever you may be. Bye-bye for now.